Jen Hamilton says the public explanation for her marriage ending was incomplete. More than a month after she and Brian Hamilton announced that they were separating, Jen now alleges that her estranged husband had been living what she called a double life, involving another woman. She later added another crucial detail. According to Jen, she did not discover that alleged relationship until after separation papers had already been signed. But Brian has not publicly responded to those allegations, leaving one central question at the heart of the Jen Hamilton marriage split. What changed between their carefully written joint statement and the account Jen is giving now? For verified entertainment updates without the rumors, subscribe to Startline Entertainment. The newest confirmed development came through videos Jen posted on July 26th and July 27th, 2026. In those videos, the labor and delivery nurse, author and social media creator, said she was finished managing other people's public image and wanted viewers to understand why the marriage had ended. She alleged that while she was working at the hospital and financially supporting the household, Brian had time to maintain another part of his life that she did not know about. Jen also suggested that the alleged double life involved a romantic relationship. In a follow-up post, she said the other woman was 56 years old. She described receiving a statement from that person indicating that the woman knew Jen existed but did not initially understand the size of Jen's online following. That account comes entirely from Jen. The woman has not been publicly identified through reliable reporting, and no direct statement from her has been independently verified. That distinction is important. It is confirmed that Jen made the allegations publicly. It is not independently confirmed that every detail happened exactly as she described it. Brian has not released a public response disputing, confirming, or explaining her claims, and outlets that contacted him had not reported receiving a response as of the latest available updates. Until he speaks or additional documentation becomes public, this remains Jen's account of the marriage, not an adjudicated or independently established finding. The story carries more weight because the couple's original announcement sounded very different. On June 13th, Jen posted an emotional video suggesting that something had happened in her marriage. She appeared deeply upset and wrote that her heart had been broken, but she did not immediately explain the event behind that pain. The clip was removed from TikTok, although copies and related posts continued circulating. 2 days later, on June 15th, Jen and Brian issued a statement together confirming that they were separating. That joint message emphasized their 15 years of shared history, love, and friendship. They said they intended to continue functioning as a team and to place their family's well-being at the center of the transition. They also said the separation was not simply a case of no longer loving one another. Instead, they described physical distance as a way to create room for healing and for each person to work through complicated personal matters. At that stage, Jen was also asking viewers to treat Brian kindly. She said there had been no screaming or obvious public hostility, and described wanting him to become the best version of himself. She took responsibility for how the separation had first become public, and reminded followers that the couple shared 2 sons whose privacy and daily lives could be affected by online speculation. That was the public version of the story in mid-June. A painful but apparently cooperative separation, framed around love, healing, and family stability. Then Jen's public tone began to change. In a June 20th update, she said that healing was not progressing in a predictable way. Some moments felt manageable, while others left her overwhelmed. She also said she had spoken to Brian that day and told followers that he was healing and doing well. Content creation, she explained, provided a sense of routine while the rest of her life felt uncertain. By July, however, Jen began posting messages that suggested she had learned information that altered how she viewed the relationship. In one mid-July video, she described having remained loyal while believing her husband wanted attention from other people. In another update around July 21st, she referred broadly to terrible things she had discovered and said she had joined a support group connected to what she was experiencing. Those statements still stopped short of providing the complete accusation she would make several days later. The decisive timeline turn came on July 26th. Jen said that when she made the original emotional video in June, she did not yet know about the alleged double life. She described the later discoveries as so destabilizing that she was now grieving not only the marriage, but also her understanding of the person she had been married to. In her account, memories that had once seemed safe or meaningful were suddenly being reassessed through information she said she had not possessed at the time. That explanation helps reconcile the contradiction between the June statement and the July allegations. According to Jen, the first separation announcement reflected what she understood then. The more accusatory account came after, she says additional facts emerged. A separate report quoted Jen as saying she learned of the alleged affair on the night separation papers were signed. The exact nature of those papers has not been publicly established in the reporting reviewed here. They should not automatically be described as a finalized divorce judgment or completed legal settlement. What the statement does indicate is that Jen says the separation was already in motion before she became aware of the alleged relationship. This also means the public should be careful with the word divorce. Jen has described herself as going through separation and divorce, and coverage frequently refers to Brian as her estranged husband. But the sources reviewed for this report do not establish that a court has finalized the dissolution of their marriage. The clearest confirmed status is that they announced a separation and that Jen has referred publicly to legal paperwork and an ongoing divorce process. The length of the relationship has also created some confusion in headlines. Jen and Brian married on August 4, 2012. When they announced their separation in June 2026, they had been married for nearly 14 years. Their joint statement referred to 15 years of shared history together rather than 15 completed years of marriage. Jen had celebrated their 13th wedding anniversary publicly in August 2025. Their 2026 separation was not the first time they had lived apart. Jen previously disclosed that they separated temporarily in 2022 before reconciling. In a March 2025 anniversary-related post, she acknowledged that their marriage had experienced periods when they were unsure they would remain together, but said at that time that she was grateful they had repaired the relationship. That history does not prove anything about Jen's current allegations. It does, however, explain why some longtime followers initially assumed the 2026 separation might again lead to reconciliation. The July videos changed that expectation by presenting the current breakup as a result of information Jen says fundamentally altered her understanding of the marriage. Another part of the story is how Jen has chosen to process the separation publicly. She has acknowledged that some viewers believe the details should remain private. Jen's response is that secrecy contributed to what she says happened, and she does not want to continue protecting information that affects her own story. She has therefore used her social media platforms as both a personal outlet and a way to explain why her earlier defense of Brian no longer represents her current position. That creates a difficult editorial line. Jen is entitled to speak about her own experiences. At the same time, a public accusation involving an estranged spouse and an unidentified third person should not be transformed into stronger claims than the evidence supports. The responsible wording is not that Brian definitively maintained an affair or double life. It is that Jen alleges he did, has offered details supporting her belief, and says she learned about it after the initial separation decision. The couple's children should also remain outside the center of the controversy. Jen has said they know what is happening, but that does not make their private reactions appropriate material for public speculation. Neither child should be used in thumbnails or as emotional evidence for either parent's version of events. The relevant public fact is only that both parents initially said their family's welfare would remain a priority. Jen has also tried to connect the separation to a wider project supporting women facing major life changes. She launched a Sisterhood of Solidarity merchandise campaign and said its profits during July and August would be donated to charities that assist women rebuilding their lives. Her official store repeats that commitment. On July 26th, Jen said supporters had generated more than $40,000 within several days. A July 28th update reported that the figure had passed $50,000. Because the total was changing quickly, and the live counter on her website was not displaying a verifiable amount when reviewed, the safest current wording is that Jen publicly reported raising more than $50,000, not that an independently audited total has been confirmed. Jen has said she recognizes that she has financial resources many people leaving difficult relationships do not have. She framed the fundraising campaign as an effort to turn a painful period in her own life into practical support for others. Her website links visitors to outside legal and shelter resources, although the site does not publicly identify every eventual recipient organization on the main campaign page reviewed for this report. In another July 27th update, Jen said she intended to continue using the surname Hamilton. Her explanation was that it had become part of her own professional and public identity. That decision does not reveal anything about the legal status of the divorce, but it answers one of the practical questions followers had begun asking as her personal brand continued operating under the same name. The start line takeaway is that this story has three clearly separated layers. The first is confirmed. Jen and Brian announced their separation on June 15th after nearly 14 years of marriage and approximately 15 years together. Their initial joint statement emphasized affection, healing, cooperation, and family stability. The second is Jen's allegation. She now says Brian maintained a double life, involving another woman, and that she learned about it after the separation process had already begun. She has shared details about what she says the other woman told her, but those details have not been independently confirmed. The third is still missing, Brian's response. Without it, the public record contains a detailed accusation from one spouse and no substantive account from the other. That does not mean Jen's statements should be dismissed. They are the most direct public evidence available about what she believes ended the relationship. But it does mean viewers should avoid converting her account into a final factual verdict about every private event in the marriage. The timing matters because Jen is not simply announcing a breakup. She is revising the explanation she originally helped publish. In June, the couple presented the separation as an act of love and space for healing. In late July, Jen said that explanation was written before she understood what she now believes was happening behind the scenes. As of the latest available reporting, Brian had not publicly addressed the double life allegation, the claimed relationship with another woman, or Jen's description of when she discovered it. No statement from the alleged other woman or Jen's description of when she discovered it. No statement from the alleged other woman has been independently released, and the available sources do not establish a finalized divorce outcome. For now, the clearest verified update is that Jen Hamilton has publicly changed her account of why the marriage ended. She says new information transformed a painful separation into a deeper sense of betrayal. Whether the story changes again will depend on documentation, legal developments, or a response from Brian, not on speculation filling the silence.